Hi, I'm Steve Whaley with Bluebird, and welcome to A Bird's Eye View. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the benefits of propane buses and their quietness, and how that helps students with special needs. Today with me is Diana Mikelski of District 211 in Illinois. Diana, thanks for coming. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit how you got started. Before we talk about the benefits of the special needs students that you have in riding the quiet buses, how did you get started on propane? I mean, everybody uses diesel buses. When did this happen and how did it come about?
In 2017, we were having a parking lot issue. We outpark all of our buses on property, school property, and we're trying to figure out where to move us to give better space for the students and teachers. And the location that they wanted to put us would be right underneath the air handler of the high school. So, of course, when you crank up, be about 42 buses at zero, there's a smog that just kind of hangs over everything and is sucked right into the building. So back and forth, what are we going to do? How could we deal with this? And it was, raise the hand. It's we have alternative vehicles now. Propane was rolling out really well. Gasoline was still making, a rollout as well. So it's like we have choices. We can do this or this. Our superintendent at the time liked to go green. All of our buildings are energy efficient. And he said, let's look into that propane. And so I was tasked for a year to find positives and negatives about propane.
So you started putting the pieces together. And how did that roll out?
So by attending conferences, articles, things like that, I asked people north, south, east, and west, how did y'all do it? What's she wanted that positive and negative side. And got to tell you, the pro side was filling up rapidly. The negative side had nothing. There was nothing I could come up with from anybody to say, what is negative about going propane? It was all pro. So I came to her, and I was new at the district, and so this was a big leap for me to say, this is it, let's do this.
Okay.
And the rest is history because we have rolled out. So, but it takes the support of your dealer, support of Roush, which has been excellent as well.
And Roush is the powertrain that actually does the propane system.
The conversion of it.
On the engine train. Okay.
And then it was training.
Okay.
And then it was also, I had a lot of support through our propane provider with setting up our infrastructure. And then it was just implementing. And that was some training that was, again, provided by all entities. And we're rolling.
Okay, so 2017, this all starts and comes about. So let's fast forward to today. How much of your fleet is on propane and how much is still on diesel?
We've tipped over the half, so we're at 80. I have a fleet of 163, and then I have some special ed buses that are gas. But right now we're cruising full speed ahead for a full conversion of Type Cs.
Okay, terrific. All right, so let's get into a little bit of a story I heard. Okay, and it starts off something like this, where you have some special needs teachers who are curious and trying to solve a mystery. What was the mystery that they were trying to solve, and what was the conclusion of that?
So about 3 years ago, I ordered our first special ed propane bus. Up until then, it had all been just full-size Type Cs. So we deployed it, it's out, running around, and I get a call from the school, and they want to know what I did. What did I do now? I have a thing, And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. And they go, there's a difference with the kids. And they asked about my drivers. No, same driver, same aide, nothing's changed there.
What was the premise? What were they?
They just noticed how the kids were getting off with, they were quieter, not as elevated in any form. We were finding that the noise canceling headphones and things were kind of just hanging around the neck, and they didn't need that. It was joy. It was just happiness. and again, in looking at it, we decided it was the bus because the bus was quiet.
Okay, so they're going into the classrooms, not as rowdy. They're able to start their learning earlier because it's not taking 45 minutes for them to calm down. Okay, and so how long? I mean, they noticed this in the classroom. How long did it take before they asked you about, hey, are you doing anything different?
It was probably well into the fall, probably like this time, It was about a month or 6 to 8 weeks into school.
Well, they're really on a quest to find out what was going on.
Yeah, it was noticeable.
Right. So they had turned up that you had told them that they were starting to ride a propane bus, which is significantly more quiet than the diesel bus. So they got that part of the benefit. And I love that story. But there's also a little bit of a hiccup later on because, buses need maintenance. Okay. So this particular bus that they were used to riding needed to go into the shop for some maintenance. And what was it replaced with?
A diesel. My spares are yet a diesel powered bus.
What happened?
So again, same aid, same driver, same setup in the bus. But you got noise. The driver now has to shout to the aide in the back. Kids the special needs students sometimes can't differentiate what's anger or being upset. Okay. So the voice is elevated and it elevates them because we all got to talk over the sound of that motor. So, an alarm went off in one for some reason or another, and that set the kids off. And the driver just got on the radio, and she's like, "You guys got to get my bus back. I got to have my bus back. We can't do this. We have to get the propane back."
All right. So when we get your fleet all the way over to propane, and even the spares are propane, we don't have to worry about that.
Not anymore. It'll be great. We've implemented 5 more special needs buses into the fleet.
Okay. Let me ask you something about that. When you have a special needs bus, a lot of them are wheelchair lift equipped, and that's a big opening in the side of the bus. Now, where you're at in Illinois, it gets a little bit chilly in the wintertime, just a little bit. So what's the recovery time when the difference between a propane and a diesel bus in cold weather? Starting it up, getting it up to cabin temperature, because a lot of the IEPs have, the individual educational programs have requirements for students, on temperature, on noise and things like that. So tell me about the differences between propane and diesel when it comes to that cabin temperature.
Well, just in general, doing a pre-trip on your bus, fire up your propane, do your pre-trip, turn in paperwork, come back out. You're taking off your jacket, even at 10 degrees. It's so warm in the bus. The passenger compartment the kids even are like dropping windows. Oh my goodness, it's so hot back here. So, okay, so a Type C full size, you've got heat before you even are rolling on route. Sorry, diesel, you just can't make it. On a 10-degree day, you're lucky if you get heat on a first go-round of your route.
What about when you open up those?
But then on special needs, so when we drop it down, again, the passenger compartment is nice and warm. It heats up well as you're going into your first stop. Even lowering it, so it could be a 5-minute process between lowering it and getting the student back in again. It is amazing how fast it can recover. But again, the whole vehicle is already warm, so it's not like I have to
Okay.
So going out in a diesel, you may not have that warmth all the way through the bus already, whereas with the propane, we're already warm. So the recovery is very fast. It works that way for AC too. These buses, AC is amazing, and that's where some of the IEPs kick in is again temperature, where we can keep them cool throughout the whole ride pretty evenly.
Okay. What about the range of these now? As far as how far can you go? You're south of Chicago, but where do you go with your trips now, and how far can you go?
So we have about 3 basic places we go. So we go out to Peoria, which is, an hour and a half, 2 hours to the west. We'll go down to Springfield, which is 3 or 4 hours by bus, and we go about mid-state to Bloomington to the universities there. That's about 2 hours. And when we started out, everybody was, again, we know what the diesel does. What does this propane do? They were taking fuel cards with. Now they're like, no, we don't need it. We know we can go 180 and back 360, no problem. The bus is great. So with the new Godzilla engine, we're doing even better with the mileage on them. So I think we're pretty comparable these days to a diesel side by side. We have our preferred stations now in our different areas that we attend. They know us, we know them. Fueling is not an issue anymore. So we go into the city all the time. We're fine. We can travel our bullseye anywhere we want to go in the state.
Terrific. So Diana, you had talked about all the partners, the training, the help, the support. How do all those pieces come together? I noticed, I love your creativity here with building this puzzle. So let's put this puzzle together, and you tell me about the pieces that we're putting in here.
Okay. As I said, first we had to get some knowledge. We had to figure out what propane was. That seemed to be the biggest fear of the unknown, right? So we had to learn about what propane was going to do for us. So then, once we did that, we had the support. We had the support of Roush. We had the support of our dealer. We had the support of Bluebird. So that was behind us, and that was a good feeling to have wrapped around us while we went into this. And then along with our propane provider, we had training based on the fueling for our drivers. We had training from Roush. We had training through AmeriGas, who is my provider. Mm-hmm. And once we put all those pieces together, I ended up with an awesome fleet.
I see that. Okay. So when it comes to your drivers, they like not shouting over students and the the noise of a diesel bus and whatnot. What about your service techs? How hard was it for them to transition from diesel onto propane?
They were awesome, and that was the biggest piece to get through. And again, that's where the knowledge came in.
I love how you put this puzzle together with your Bluebird dealer support, with the Roush support, with your propane provider support, to put it all together to make it work. Well, Diana, thank you for telling your story. We really appreciate you coming here. And this has been a bird's eye view of the benefits of propane and their quiet buses for our students with special needs.